So to use FOIL, we want to go ahead and say I need first, outside, inside, last. We're going to organize our work. And then the F, the first part, says let's multiply together the first term from each polynomial. In this case, that's x times x, which gets us x squared. The O part, which stands for outside, says let's multiply the outside term from each polynomial. So in this case, that's going to be the x's of the outermost one from the left guy, the 3 from the right guy. So 3 times x gets us 3x. We move on to the I part of FOIL. That's the inside or the innermost term. Now don't forget to pay attention to signs. It's not just the numerical value. That anywhere in algebra, if you see a negative, you want to think about that as attached to the next number. So in this case, you don't want to look at that 4 and say that's 4. You want to call that negative 4. So we have a negative 4 times an x. That's going to get us negative 4x. And then the L, remember, stands for last. So the last number from each of these would be the negative 4 and the positive 3. If I multiply negative 4 and positive 3 together, I get negative 12. So there's where FOIL is helping us to remember which things get multiplied together. And again, you could have used vertical method, you could have used distribution. FOIL is just one way to remember what things get multiplied together. Now we still have to finish this out because we then have to say, are there any like terms? And usually the O and the I will be like terms. It's not always the case, but definitely look out for it. So 3x minus 4x gets us negative x, and everything else just copies down. Now back to our organization, I do want to point out here, it's okay to leave some space in your answer. You don't need to cram together everything. So I left this spread out so I could easily copy down from one step to the next. My x squared copied straight down. My negative 12 copied straight down. The negative x, it's clear it came from the 3x minus 4x because it's right in between them. So it's a way of staying organized. We always want to think about staying organized because I don't believe there's such thing as silly errors. So some people call some errors silly or careless errors. Well, if you have a careless error, show more care in your work. If you have a silly error, don't be silly when you're doing your math. So let's come up with a good way to organize our work so that those errors don't happen. And when they do, we can easily find them. And that way we don't actually report an error. So we always want to think about how to check our answers and how to make sure that our answers are correct.